So wow, the brand new Harry Potter game was just revealed. It's called Hogwarts Legacy and it looks fantastic. So this is a brand new open world action adventure RPG as it's being described, and the combat's looking really sharp. We're also going to be taking a look at the open world. I feel like there's two different open worlds in this one. There's one that exists outside of the actual school, and then there's the entire interior of the school, which looks extremely extensive. You have all the houses and things like that are fully explorable apparently. And then we're going to get into the character creation for this game, the character progression, and what you can expect from that as well. And get this, there's even seasons in Hogwarts Legacy. That is incredible that they went to this length to provide us with seasons, and you get your own space where you can have your own cottage. You could have your own beasts that you can basically tame. So a lot of cool stuff that we're going to be diving into later on. But let's first of all talk about the open worlds. First, we're going to be exploring, of course, the interior of Hogwarts, but I really wanted to talk about how extensive this open world is also outside of the game, because there's an entire town called Hogsmeade that you can explore here, and you can obtain different cool potions from, of course, vendors here, but you can really get in here and fully customize your character outside of what the school wants, outside of the eye of the school. So I think that type of different variation in gameplay is really cool. And yes, you will find some, I guess you would say, villains around in this town specifically, because this is not considered a safe space, it appears, for Hogwarts students. So you got to be very, very mindful of that, exploring that area or realm. So I'm curious to see how you actually access that. But I was so impressed by this right here. Multiple seasons in Hogwarts Legacy. Now, what does this mean for gameplay? What does it mean for the different beasts that are going to be around the world? I am so curious. As you can see, you can explore the immediate areas outside of Hogwarts. There's going to be really cool side missions and things like that that you can tackle, which are going to further upgrade your character as you go through these missions. But it's not going to be all combat, which I thought was really cool. It's not going to be just about you getting in there and fighting, but as you can see, you can find these mystical beasts around the area, which have been overtaken by some sort of dark magic they have to be very aware of. Or you can go in here and kind of rescue these beasts as well. You don't have to kill them outright. You can actually go in there and rescue them and free them and bring peace to the land. And then there's dungeons. Now, dungeons are going to be a very big theme to Hogwarts Legacy. They're going to be extension to the open world, of course, where you go in there and find all sorts of cool items that you can collect. And this is where I think a lot of the secrets and puzzles and rewards are going to be in those dungeons. Now, we got to talk about the other open world, which is the interior of this school. The school itself looks absolutely beautiful from the outside, but also the interiors, really do shine. Now, there is a story here. They didn't spoil much, but apparently you have some sort of access to special magic that no other student has access to, and there's some sort of dark undertone to this story as well. A villain is set up here that I think they want to keep under wraps, of course, and I don't blame them. I don't want it spoiled for myself either, but it seems like you're going to be beginning your adventure fully customizing your own wizard, and you're going to have a lot of options here. You're going to have to sit down in front of everyone, put on that sorting hat, and it looks like you're going to be ending up in one of the different houses within the school. And it's so cool because they look so different, and I'm curious to see how this is going to impact the entire experience of the game. Is this going to be just an aesthetic, superficial, or is this going to impact the entirety of the game? I am so curious. Now, the interior of the school itself offers different classes that you can go to, and you can learn different spells, of course. Most importantly, it seems like potions are going to be a big focus. But yeah, you're going to be introduced to some really wacky, fantastical characters along your journey, and story here is going to be absolutely crucial. That's something that I am really tuned into with this trailer, is how much story seems to be in the game, despite it being a full open world. You know how some open world games completely lack story. It does not seem like Hogwarts Legacy is going to be neglecting the story whatsoever. But yeah, the interior of the school is really where you're going to be meeting your friends. You're also going to be learning new spells and, of course, practicing on other, I guess you'd say, competitors, contenders, and things like that. So that is really super noteworthy. And yeah, there's also going to be some returning characters in this game as well. But don't expect, of course, I don't believe Harry Potter, of course, would be ending up in this game because this takes place in the 1800s. Now, there's going to be challenges strewn out throughout the grounds of the school as well. You could take these on, go into dungeons, and that will further upgrade your character. There's going to be various puzzles that you can solve. And some of these puzzles, by the way, they don't sound like they're going to be very easy to tackle. They might be something where you have to actually upgrade certain spells, learn things to get into certain areas of the school, which to me makes a lot of sense. But the detail here is astonishing in the interior of the school. And I'm so curious to see how much time is spent for us in the school, in dungeons versus the actual open world. There's going to be a lot to explore in this game. And yes, here's one of the returning characters right here from the movies. We haven't seen any indication of other characters just yet, but that's a little bit of a tease. We will be seeing ghost-like individuals floating through the halls of the school, as you may remember them in the actual movie, which is very, very cool. Here's some of the extra activities that you can perform. This is going to further upgrade your character, and it looks like, yes, Quidditch is going to be a part of this as well. Now, they spoke about the dangerous underlying mystery that is kind of over the school, over your character as you explore, and you will be able to find a lot of other areas that are going to be very challenging. I'm curious to see how this is going to be compared to games like Elden Ring. I do think this one is going to have difficulty settings, so don't worry there if you're worried about difficulty and that sort of thing. But yeah, there's definitely a story here, some cool stuff going on there. But we got to talk about combat. Let's talk about combat, spells, and potions, and what's going on here, because they show this very quickly throughout the gameplay demonstration, and there's a lot going on here that seems like there's a counter system, but also there's a cool bridge there that can be built. But this is cool. You can get into a locked duel type system, I guess you would say, with your wands with another enemy. And yeah, you can freeze opponents. But what's interesting about combat here is it's not just you button mashing whatsoever, because other enemies can really take you on with their own spells. They can freeze you, they can incapacitate you in different ways. So it seems like you're going to have the mental fortitude, the things that you learn from Hogwarts, from this school, to really tackle combat and learn how to take on these other evil wizards and beasts and things like that. But combat, it seems like it's not too complicated, but it seems like it offers some complexities that I think a lot of us will enjoy. There's dodging here, a lot of maneuverability, and different spells that you will be casting, levitations. But also, there seems to be some sort of counter system in this game as well that you can kind of invest in. They do kind of showcase this in the combat as well. And you could see you can lift up some of the objects in the game as well. Then there are finishers. So at the end of a string of spells, you can actually finish off your opponent by pounding them on the ground, as you can see right here, like they're absolutely nothing. And then you could whisk your way through some sort of teleportation and call down lightning. So a lot of options with combat. Now, that it seems like some of these enemies will have their own strengths and weaknesses as well, like any RPG. So it might be that you will have to really learn about these enemies through your school experience and build up your potions. There's the counter. That's what I was talking about. That's something that I love to see in games, to be able to be that defensive and that quick. So yeah, some really cool stuff going on with combat. But how do you really progress in this game with your character? There's talents and abilities that are laid out here through 5 different cards, I guess you would say. Some of them deal with stealth. You have your core abilities for health. And we aren't really familiar with the other cards. They did only show, if I can rewind this real quick for you all, they did show the Room of Requirement is something that you can invest in. I'm going to talk about that here in just a moment. One of the coolest things about the game is the Room of Requirement, let me tell you what. Yeah, you will be able to be stealthy in this game, as you can see right here. Invest into stealth if you really don't want to be all in on the combat. It seems like this can be a path that you can take. Can you play the game as a pure stealth experience? That's what I'm wondering. But through this, you will be able to obtain treasure and rewards are going to be strewn throughout the world. They're going to be gear upgrades for your character, appearance changes, things like that. And you'll have traits that you can also upgrade. And yes, there's going to be potions and different beasts that you will be able to. I don't know if you'll be able to tame these beasts, but I'm going to talk about that in just a moment through the room of requirement. But you will be able to go here and basically make your own potion concoction of sorts. So as you can see the results right here, up your defense in combat, basically a rock layer around your character, making you, I guess, somewhat invulnerable right here. And then, yes, here's some of the, I guess you would call them plant companions. They didn't touch base too much on some of these companions. I think they want to keep a lot of this a secret, but I love that right there, the screamer type companion. It's kind of like Pokemon in Harry Potter, and I thought that was so cool. Now, there's other beasts that you can interact with. We don't know how far you can go with this type of interaction, but it looks like there's going to be various mounts in the game because there is a Pegasus, but they do show in the trailer. And of course, you do have your trusty broom. They didn't talk about upgrading your broom or anything like that, but, considering how extensive this game is, I'm imagining that that's going to be something in the game. Now, what's cool about this, like other RPGs, like Bethesda's RPGs, is you can have companions, and each one of them have their own side stories and different stories that you can really get involved in. And it sounds like there's some really dark stories here as well, which Harry Potter has not been shy ever about getting into the dark stuff. So I'm curious to see what type of stories we have. But also, we have the lighthearted storytelling elements as well. It looks freaking hilarious. So I can't wait to dive into the story. Now, I promised I would talk about this one right here, and that is the Room of Requirement. This is by far one of the most fascinating parts of this new Hogwarts Legacy game. And it's a room where essentially it knows what you need. So that's different, but you can also plant different plants here, make different stations. There's many different options. And yeah, if you're out of something or you're missing something, I guess this room knows that and will provide that for you. But you can also have a potting station, as you can see here, plant some cool stuff right here. But there's a character in the Room of Requirement that you will be meeting, and they will give you your own space, which they will build right in front of you. Check this out right here. It's like a portal that you walk straight into. As you can see, this troll right here goes straight into it, and we have our own buildable space. Now, there is a limit to what you can build here, it looks like. But yeah, there's different type of beasts that you can tame and maybe even collect through the open world and bring back there. They have not confirmed that much detail just yet, but I would imagine that's what's going on here with the Room of Requirement. I was absolutely blown away by what was shown here with this new Harry Potter open world game. It is incredible what they have pulled off. And yeah, let me know what you guys think. What house do you hope to end up in Hogwarts Legacy? This one is coming out, by the way, holiday 2022. Will it be delayed? It seems like it's not like a firm release date right now. There's going to be so much competition fall 2022. So you never know. I will keep you guys up to date if this game is delayed or not. But the plan is holiday 2022 will be the release, basically, I guess you would say, on every single platform out there. But God, can't wait for this one. Really looking forward to it. I think there's going to be a ton of brand new Harry Potter fans out there for sure. But thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for more, and I will see you all next time. Take care.